Welcome to the Art of Conscious Living TV. Today's guest is Lilou Macé. She's an internet sensation. She goes around the world interviewing people who are enlightened, who want to be enlightened, and who are living a very conscious life. Her guests some are very, very well known, world famous, others not so much. But they all have one thing in common. They seek to live a better life on this planet, a connection of body, mind, and spirit, of living with positiveness. And she has coined the phrase of juiciness. She likes to live a juicy, passionate life. So today, I'm very pleased to have Lilou here, and thank you and welcome.
Thank you for having me, yes.
Well, you're on your way back to Paris tonight, actually, and you're here in Marin, San Francisco, and you were just in Hawaii, henceforth your beautiful tan.
Thank you. Yes, it's so delicious to be here in San Francisco. I was actually born in California, in Santa Barbara, but my parents are French, so yes, I spent most of my time in France and traveling the world and interviewing all those delicious people. There's so many great souls around the planet. I don't think we speak enough about them.
Yes. Well, let's start at the very beginning. You mentioned that you were born in Santa Barbara, but your parents are from France.
Yes.
So you were born back in what decade?
I was born in 1977, and they had a French restaurant on State Street in Santa Barbara. My dad is a chef, and we were living there. They had bought this house for $70,000 at the time. Now it's probably worth millions.
Mm-hmm. Is the French restaurant still there?
Yeah, it's called Opal now. It's on State Street. It's a different name. It used to be called La Grange. Yes.
And your parents were the owner?
Yeah. And then we moved when I was about 2 years old. And then we lived in France pretty much the rest of the time.
So as a young child, you spent most of your time
in France.
In France.
Yeah, a bit in Scottsdale too, Arizona. Yeah.
Okay.
We would travel.
How do you identify? Do you see yourself as American or as French or international, of course?
Yeah.
But what do you favor?
I love both sides. I really feel international, and I feel as French as American, and I would always when I'm in France, I would speak of Americans, and when I'm in the US, it's the reverse. So it's a constant dance. It's like if one was a father and the other one was the mother. I just cannot choose. I love both sides. I feel like I'm a dual citizen, so it's a beautiful. I like that balance. It creates balance for me to come back and forth.
Tell me the main difference you see between France and America on the social. Of course, let's leave alone the political but let's talk about the social and the consciousness of the people.
Yes, well, in France we're a little bit behind as far as consciousness went. It was a little bit more hidden, and a lot was going on the internet. And thanks to the internet, things have really opened up. So French people are, there's so much into the reason, the analysis, the intellect that it was holding us back from really living consciously and opening up. And now things are changing. It's like there's this huge shift. The lid is kind of off, and people, there's a big suffering and there's a lot of issues, but people are realizing that there's so much more to do. And I love coming back to America because there's the pioneers here. This is the best of the best that came to California, the people that went forth, and there's so much creativity, entrepreneurship, and openness to all these topics that it's always such a delight to be here. And it's a wonderful balance for me between the rational side of the French people, the passionate, the depth, and the openness into the dreams and what's possible here in California.
Is it possible that the French are steeped into bureaucracy and tradition, that they are not moving forth, and perhaps the young people of this generation in France are bringing forth the new possibilities, a new reality?
Yeah, totally. But you know what? I'm realizing as I'm traveling a lot to do these interviews that the shift is happening everywhere around the planet. Even French people that were a little bit behind, there seems to be something that happened the past months and years. So I'm excited about that. And that's what I prefer to focus on, what's possible. The Dutch people, the Belgium, the Swiss were really helped Europe to open up to the next level. And so it's cool to see it everywhere now. Yes.
So it sounds like it's more of a collective than more of a single journey. People who are like-minded are making this connection. Henceforth, as you mentioned, the internet.
Yeah. And some people say Paris is the heart of the world. I hear that in every single country I go to, you know, Mexico, they say this is El Corazon, and then you go to Peru or you go to Japan, and it's happening there too. So I don't know if Paris is, but I've been called to live in Paris the past month, actually, not so long ago. It's a place that wants to open up. I think we're ready for it.
So what are you ready for, and what have you been doing in your life in the way of consciousness and connection to? We have Burning Man going on once a year, and the Burning Man is all about this tribal, this openness, this sporadic spontaneousness of living, and as you said, as I mentioned in the intro, the juiciness of life.
Yes.
So how do you express that, Lilou?
Actually, Burning Man, I'll be there next year. I got my media little pass to go there. So next year I'll be there to do some interviews. Mm-hmm. But how do I express the juiciness, this journey?
Well, I see Burning Man as a once-a-year event, but I see Burning Man as an everyday event.
Yes.
So how do you live this in your own life?
Yeah, well, I create at the beginning of the day intentions, and then look at the end of the day what I can be grateful for. And also, to me, it's super important to make choices with an open heart, taking it one step at a time in life, stepping in the unconditional and the really just being amazed at what's going on minute by minute, and only making saying real yeses to life. So my life has started to really transform from the moment I reopened my heart. And I could clearly see when that happened, because I went through a major financial crisis. I used to live in Miami for 8 years after graduating. I was rocking it, spending some money, overspending even. And that was my way, I realized, of filling up an empty hole inside of me. I was afraid to love again from the divorce of my parents, I was hurt. I'm very sensitive, so I protected myself from this. And the fact that when I lost my job in London as director of marketing in 2009, beginning 2009, I had to go back to my parents. I had no more money. I couldn't continue. I wrote a book, so I spent a lot of money, self-publishing, etc. And I was miserable. I felt like I thought I was going to die, because I was so identified with money, with the car I was driving, with the money on my account. And I said, I can no longer continue this conversation. This is no more. This is not possible to suffer so much. So going back to my parents at 32, now I'm 38, but at 32 I went back. And that was just I feel now so blessed I went through this, because gratitude for small things start to re-enter my life. Small things, for having a roof over my head, for having a bed, for having my parents alive, for having this time to heal our relationships, and all these things that were creating the foundation for then what happened. So I'm just every day now there's this kind of shift of paradigm. There is this opening of the heart. There's decisions I make from a intangible, intuitive, irrational, spontaneous type of way that I would not consider before, because my fear was on top of it, and I would quickly shut off, because I was afraid of being judged, and I was afraid of being myself.
Well, let's look back in hindsight and see that while you were going through the lack of money, the loss of job, going back to the parents, feeling totally vulnerable, extremely vulnerable. Yeah. If we could have at that time saw this as a life learning lesson and been of gratitude at that moment in time, that while it was happening, how would that have been different for you? Because in hindsight, we get that experience. At the end of it, we say, that is so fantastic that happened. I learned so much from it. But I'm saying, during the time that's happening, what would life be like then?
Yeah, I did some kind of. I went back to those moments, even on a soul level. I realized that my soul wanted to experience that, and I wanted to experience that to open myself to other ways of thinking and of being. Even at the time, even during my childhood, when I was so angry at my parents and society and everything, I just really. I started doing out-of-body experiences, experiencing different things to numb myself, to detach myself from the earthly plane. And I think that a lot of things have developed at the time. So looking back, I could see why my soul and our souls chooses this path, and why we have to go through those difficult times. Because without that, I couldn't do what I do now. And I love bonding with my guests. I love writing. I love doing all these things. And I don't think I wouldn't have the same passion for it if it wouldn't be for all these difficult moments. Yeah.
So looking back in hindsight, you became more self-observant. You became more aware of what was happening to you, because the bad that was happening to you got you, as they say, to your knees, so you had to pay attention.
Yeah.
Where when you were spending money in Miami, there was not much attention going on.
Yeah, well, I can only, there's only what I live now that it feels really good. And I could see how before it was off. Like whether when I was angry or numbing my pain with things, buying things and being in the material life, none of that would fulfill this. And only from the moment I started giving myself that love instead of waiting it from the outside, instead of waiting approval from others. Like I was in such a pain because I wasn't relating to society. I wasn't relating to my parents. I didn't understand what was going on. I shut down. I really shut down, and I was really terrified to love another human being and to be even in intimate moments. For the longest time, it just like even being in an intimate relationship with a man was terrifying.
Yes.
Yes.
So what I've learned from talking to all my wonderful guests that I've had throughout the years, and all of the studies and all of the disciplines that I've been focusing on, is when things are in turmoil in our life, that is the soul, the spirit speaking, and it's there to show us that what's going on in the inside is a manifestation of what's going on in the outside. So we have to sort of use that and not reject it, not resist it. Go with it and let it talk to us as if it was a teacher.
Yes.
And it took me years, like you, to learn this, to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Our mind can get in the way and say, no, why I know, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do what I want to do, and always there's this quiet intuitiveness going on, this quiet knowings.
Yes.
So I think looking at you, I see that you have arrived, and I know that I have arrived to an incredible place where I know that this is a continuum of journey forever.
Yeah.
But yet I know that I'm at the best place I've ever been. So when you mention that juiciness of life, that's when all of this passion and all of these possibilities can come forth.
Yeah, and I really believe, it could get really, really juicy. When we accept who we are fully, we give ourselves this love, and as you said, when we're going through difficult times, we don't resist, we just let it go through us. It's transformative. Our soul wants to evolve. It means our soul wants to experience more.
It's talking to us, the soul at that moment. And if we refuse to listen to it, then the resistance is I like that.
Yeah, it backfires.
Yes.
It backfires, and it's time to register those lessons and to accept them. And I think if we remove the resistance and the ego, it's just like really the soul wants to get it and is ready for greatness. Like we feel. I was afraid that I would discover a really bad person behind all this, but it was the ego just holding this transformation. Because behind it, I'm seeing more and more light and so much love inside of me that wants to be expressed.
So when you say you were afraid to see a bad person behind all of the illusion or whatever you were seeing, you were afraid of your own power in essence.
I was afraid. I think it's the ego that gives illusions of there's something wrong here, and that holds us back from transforming and discovering all this light. So it's just an internal conversation going on based on what we understood in the past, or maybe that we need to heal. And so therefore behind it, when we say, okay, ego, just let me do this work kind of thing, I'm going to do it and give it love and let it be back at its servant's place instead of it being the leader of the situation, and let the heart be the master, then there's true transformation and so much light and love. And that's what I love, is that I'm seeing so much light and love in everyone now. And this is a mirror, so it becomes, my reality is more and more luminous because of that. And I really do think it really gets juicy. It's like there's so much passion, abundance for all of us, creativity. Like, how did we get there to this place of competition, of separation, of feeling less better than all that? We all are magnificent beings, and we're all so unique. Like, none of us look the same, and we have different background. There is space for all of us. And once we enter in this kind of a new paradigm of conscious living, like really being conscious of what we're thinking of and how we're moving forward, and how we're interacting with other human beings, wow, it's really magic and miraculous even.
Yes, and this is the consciousness that's going on the planet right now.
Yeah.
In every country, in every continent,
yeah.
There's this awakening. There's this feeling of not separate anymore.
Yeah. And there's a back and forth. I mean,
yeah.
I feel the back and forth. Sometimes my heart shuts down again, and then, but it's a way to grow to the next level, I guess.
Do you think it'll be a constant opening and closing?
I don't. Yeah.
Or can there be ever at one point where there's a constant opening? A joyous of living and of openness.
Yeah, I think the constant one is when we leave this earth plane. You know, Wayne Dyer left, and it's a beautiful person that a lot of us knew. 75 years old, he left this planet, and he was ready for the next adventure. And I think that's when really things are really just, we're back in the light. But in this journey, we experience contrasts, we experience ups and downs. There's cycles in life. So by not making ourselves wrong when we go through those lows, and understanding that maybe our body needs to rest, and there's something for us to understand, then we're more at peace with it, and I think the real lesson can arise.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing, that the opening and closings, I think they're going to become lesser, where you're not going to be holding on so long.
Yeah.
Maybe perhaps before it was maybe 3 days, over a weekend perhaps you were holding on, but now perhaps the time is way short, where it's maybe an hour.
Yeah.
And you close down, but you close down and then you open right back up.
Yeah.
I think there's a merging of energy that is accelerating everybody.
Yeah.
I've been feeling it very much since the last 10 years.
And
Each year it's getting stronger.
Yeah, and you know what I feel like is accelerating that process, or at least what I'm witnessing in my life, is when I become authentic. So when I remove the mask, when I just say when I'm sad that I'm sad, when I express my feelings, or when I say that I was being a jerk the other day with this person at the airport because I was trying to go through and push my way in, or whenever. And as soon as I see that I come up to that person and excuse myself, say I'm sorry, I didn't, like within hours, as you say, or minutes, things can shift and go back into the flow. Because ideally, personally, I want to be in the flow all the time, where when things are smooth and things are working out. And I think that's the natural way of life. I think that's how life is meant to be, not the struggle.
Right. So as you mentioned before, it's about the heart.
Yeah.
Always coming back to the heart, to the softness of life, to the authentic, and to the vulnerability of life.
Oui.
Yeah.
Oui. Yeah.
Yes.
the heart, the heart is such a powerful, intuitive, force that is connected to all that is. And I really do believe the more this heart is open, then we're really seeing a lot more stuff than only our eyes can see. And I was afraid, as I said before, to be manipulated by love, but I'm seeing that actually when I'm really conscious in the present moment, open-hearted, in tune with my feelings, then there's people I don't want to come close to. There's some relationships I will say no to from a loving perspective. There's a lot of things that I start to say no to, but from a loving dimension, not from a fearful place. And then I get very selective on the people I want to be surrounded by, not because of their revenues or the house they have or the car they drive, but how pure they are in their heart. Like, to me, that's how I choose my guests. That's how I go on with my life. I want to be surrounded by people that have good intentions and that are nurturing and that are giving as much as I am giving. I'm a giver. I need to be surrounded by other givers. And because it feels right, and then there's not so much this struggle or this conflict all the time, or protection, or I have to protect myself because the other one, you know how some people suck your energy or suck your aliveness, even juiciness.
Yes, it's amazing as you speak about loves and intimacy and relationships. As when we are out of balance, we call this energy and we allow this energy that we would ordinarily say no to, and sometimes we don't say no to that.
Yeah.
But it's that being in balance, not being true to ourselves, of really with our alignment of ourselves, what's going on. And it's so easy to fall out of alignment, and immediately these people appear that ordinarily we would know in a heartbeat of a moment that no, we should not be there with this person.
It takes courage to then have the conversation with that person and say, this is not working for me. Yeah. Because that's courage. It's the root, you know, is the cœur, the heart. And it takes a lot of heart. It takes a lot of, just to dare to say no to somebody. Like it's really quite amazing to say no to a situation and kind of get the lesson of that and move on. And treat ourselves with love and respect and tenderness instead of making ourselves wrong for having been in this situation and not having seen it happening or not following our intuition, and go for this transformation, because it's really accepting it and then moving on. Mm-hmm. And then having the courage to have this conversation, and then we're on to the next level, and we attract different guys, different partners, different boss, because we got it. We don't no longer want this abusive relationship.
Yes, and maybe they're just bringing something else to the table in the way of a learning, but maybe it's not the whole everything of needing to go with intimacy. So it's very important to be mindful of what's going on at all moments in time.
Yes.
Let's speak about soulmates, and there's a saying of twin soulmates, where it's beyond the soulmates. So how do you identify with that? And have you ever met a person who you knew was your twin soulmate, or was your likeness of your spirit? And
I love these conversations about relationships.
Yes.
Yes. I love, this is one of my favorite topics to interview people and experts on, because I'm really intrigued. I'm actually single. So I just went through a breakup. It's kind of what I was talking earlier, but 10, 11 months ago. And I'm discovering how great it is, first of all, to be single. What a great time it is to reconnect to ourselves, and to even start dating ourselves. I just love that idea of going on a date with, and just honoring who we are, and just bringing that love and that vibration higher. And then soulmates, from my understanding, are different than twin flames and life partners. But the whole twin flame, I believe I met once a twin flame, and it seems to be a very difficult relationship to how do you say that it really happens and that it becomes a life partner. From my understanding, twin flames, it's like two souls, but that are
complementing each other perfectly.
But usually there's a big challenge, and it makes it very hard for these two souls to be together, and they have to go through a huge hump, to be really fully together. And a lot of twin flames sometimes meet even when they're still in marriage, and then they have these complications, and then they start to move together in a lifetime, but it seems quite rare. I just done an interview in Paris about it with a person that have met her twin flames. And a lot of people have concepts of twin flames, but it's rare. Like, I found another couple in Hawaii that are totally twin flames. You see them because when they're next to each other, it's like they finish each other's sentence. They feel one another's energy. When they're separated, the other would feel exactly what that person is going through. They can even start crying if the person is having a hard time. And they just want to be together all the time, and there's beautiful moments. But before getting there seems to be this huge hump that not everybody's able to go through. Like, I wasn't able to make it happen. And then soulmates, they can be our parents, they can be friends, they can be they're people coming in our lives. They don't have to be really romantically involved with us.
And they could be showing us the lessons that we need.
Truly.
They could be holding a mirror for us
Yes.
to show us what we need to learn.
Yes.
As a catalyst.
Yes.
Yes. So the twin flame, these people you speak about in Hawaii and in Paris, these couples, were they ecstatically happy when you say they were finishing each other's sentences? They were with empathy to each other, a deep, deep, deep connection on the emotional level.
Yeah.
Did they seem to be very happy people?
Yeah, extremely happy, and they're just inseparable. It's very, very amazing, high level conscious love, and they come together to do the conscious work, the spiritual work. Yes.
So are we to hold out just for this? Because if we do not meet this person,
yes,
perhaps we'll be alone for a long, long time.
Most of us are probably not capable of living that kind of relationship. And we can wish for it, but I think the best is to open up to whatever is the best for us at this time.
Accepting what is.
Yeah, and finding a loving partner. A loving partner that is willing and honest and be open to however this can show up.
Yes. Yeah, I have just one criteria in a relationship, that it would be that you may not be completely enlightened and completely the ideal perfect prince right now, or ever, but at least you have an open mind or an open heart that you could see a possibility of that, and that you possibly would be open to that.
Yeah.
And so therefore there's a curiosity going on.
Yeah.
And if there's a curiosity and there's a possibility, that's enough.
Yeah. There's some people, you know, that there's different schools about it. Some people say write a list of everything that you want and really in details, or put in a cosmic order and at which date you want your ideal partner and this and that.
And call it forth.
Yeah. But I love all the declarations, setting intention, those cosmic orders, because at the same time it's like saying it's kind of tapping in the future and tapping in your intuition and allowing your heart to speak. And it's quite interesting what you will write on that list from a heart level, a real true heart desire. I like, you know, I love playing, like being like a kid, trying things out and setting intentions and seeing how it worked, and so why not for a partner and testing different little things. But I think the main thing, if we love ourselves as we are, then and accept different aspects, then we're gonna really truly find that loving partner that we're seeking.
It definitely all starts
and it's here,
within.
yeah,
definitely.
Yes. And you know, I was in Thailand in January. I went to interview Mantak Chia, that wrote a lot of books on orgasmic couples and all these things.
Mantak Chia.
Yes.
And Chiang Mai.
Chiang Mai, yes. And I discovered the jade egg that women can wear inside of themselves, and it's really exciting. I'm probably gonna write a book about it too. And there's a lot of Taoism and all kind of practices that really help us to open our sexual energy and many different things that I think is also an important thing to work on. Like, I think we are sexual beings too, and it's important to explore that in a very respectful way and a conscious way too. I don't think we speak enough about these kind of topics, but
this is a perfect segue into what I wanted to start to speak about, which was Mantak Chia. Who was your favorite guest of all the guests that you've interviewed throughout the years? And why were they your favorite guests?
Yeah.
Each one, of course, is very, very special. But let's start with your experience here with Mantak Chia. You were there for how long?
I was in Thailand for 5 weeks to do some interviews, and then I probably was on campus at the Tao Garden. They have a whole center there, and I was there for a week. So I interviewed Mantak and other experts. Mantak was very special, of course, and you learn a lot from masters like that. But what I love is I even enjoyed more some other interviews on the campus with other experts that he trained, because they're like Europeans or people with closer in age to mine. Like, I've interviewed this ex-porn star that is all about the woman orgasms, and he was so passionate about it that I even more so enjoyed that. Like, you know how I love guests that are, or interviewees that are They're just, they really love it, and they love what they're talking about, but they also continue the evolutionary process.
They're an experiential of it.
Yes, and they never stop. Like Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, you know, that just passed. Well, 75 years old. He's one of my very favorite interviewees, because he has been always questioning again and again for every single of his books the process that it takes. So he'll test it on himself and then share it in front of the audience. And I don't think it's every single spiritual teacher or person about success, etc., that will ongoingly, throughout all their life, do this. There is being authentic, to me, like choosing our teachers. And for me, the person I will interview is very, very important. You know, they're not, it's an ongoing process. It's never finished. Whoever tells you that they're done and enlightened and etc., I run away. I run away.
So how are you financing all of this as a one-woman show on the road, traveling all the world and interviewing all these incredible people?
It evolved throughout times. Back in 2011, when I started the Juicy Living Tour, I started putting videos on YouTube like 10 years ago, but for the Juicy Living Tour in 2011, I got it financed through donations. So I had a PayPal button and people were financing it. Yes. So I received thousands and thousands of dollars as I was traveling around Canada, Mexico, and the US. Actually, for the little story of it, like I wanted to start on the 11th of January 2011, and on the day before, on the 10th of January, I had to buy a computer of $1,000, and that was a third of my budget for the entire year. Yeah, so I just like, and I stepped in and I said, this is truly what I need to edit those videos, etc. And there's a donation of the same amount that came in. $1,000 without me asking, and it's been always like that ever since. From the moment I dared to fully live my dream, to step there, to do this quantum leap of faith, and to fully 100% step in my dream, which was to travel and to meet people in their homes and just share all these messages, inspiring messages. I felt so much support, and I felt the abundance really came in, and I believe the abundance too is experienced through the opening of the heart. But as far as the journey, it keeps on unfolding. And now it's a bit of donation, but it's a lot of events that are organized. I do movie screenings, to conferences that I give, to, you know, I mean, it had, on my YouTube channel, 42 million views, so it had a lot of exposure, and a lot of people want to meet and gather and come together now. So I think the change now that is happening is, for me, it's going from online to offline and meeting and getting all together and creating community, and really that's what Europeans right now, and that's why soon I'm going back to the US to spend more and more time and create those events. Yeah, because, and that financed then my channel.
So you have a physical event such as a event like a festival, or a weekend festival or a day festival?
It would be an evening. Most of the time I'm still at the evening stage, so people would come in and yeah, they will hear.
Like a sangha, like a meeting of like a Buddhist sangha.
Yeah, it would be more like a conference.
A conference?
Yeah, a conference. I would give a conference of 2 hours, and people would come and we exchange also, and they ask questions, and we'll all meet, and then they know that the price of the entrance supports my channel.
Okay. Are there going to be guests? Are they going to see you interviewing other people?
Yes. I've been doing that too recently. The past months, I've been in front of an audience of 300 people in Paris and doing live interviews. I have 3 guests. Okay. And I'm enjoying that. Like I rent a theater in Paris near the Les Folies Bergères in the 9th district, and I do those televised, and then I broadcast that on YouTube. So the people coming to the event, they pay, and they know they're supporting the show.
That's wonderful.
Yes, and then they get to see it live and to get their question answered. Like I had Sonia Choquette the other day, so she was talking about twin flames and soulmates, and then people get to sit with us and ask their question as well. Mm-hmm.
So you're a one-woman show doing this. You don't have the directors, the producers. It's you doing it all.
I do have. I do set things up and I produce it, but then I have editors. Sorry. I have people that does the editing for me, or I have an assistant, I have graphic designers, I have things like that. So there's about 10 people that help me. and they're freelancers, and they support me according to how much work I need. So this way I have a lot of flexibility. I think we need a lot of flexibility these days. Also depending on how much money is coming in, how much support I'm getting. And yeah, it's really cool. It works nicely for everyone like that.
What is the ultimate vision that you'd like to see in the near future? You've got this far by your visualization of actualizing everything of what you've wanted. And as soon as you drop down into being in service, then everything starts to appear, such as the money, and you're able to continue on. Yeah. But where do you ultimately see yourself being in the next couple of years? Yeah. Besides doing as you just mentioned, you're going to start doing events in different places that in the United States, hopefully.
I feel like there's going to be a TV show in the US. I really do feel that. I feel there's going to be a group of women getting together and us having a show on relationships or women empowerment. I have this kind of a really desire to live between Paris and maybe California or another state. I don't know yet, but creating that. I just love the US, and I want to be part of this community too, and go back and forth. This is essential. So we'll see. I mean, more books. I have 4 books out, soon a 5th one. I'm co-creating a lot of workbooks too, and I have.
What are the name of your books?
I Lost My Job and I Liked It was the first one. I Had No Money and I Liked It was the second one, about the heart, opening of the heart. And the one is coming out very soon is I Have No Religion and I Like It. That's on co-creation.
I Have No Relationship and I Like It.
And the one I'm writing and finishing writing right now is the I'm Single and I Like It.
Oh, it sounds like a chicken soup.
It's a series.
You could do 100 books on that.
Yes. It's a series. It's like a stream of consciousness and of events happening and applying this tool, meeting this person, and kind of registering all the different synchronicities in our life when we live this conscious way. So,
and the thread that runs through all of those books is that you could be taken down and cut down at the knees and feel the victim and feel really sorry for yourself, or you can do what you've written about in the books, where you can transform yourself.
Yeah. Through gratitude, by being grateful for having no money, by being grateful for being single, by being grateful for losing our job, then we can see and witness the present, like the gift that there is for us going through that. And I believe that's how we can transform
the ultimate
those.
Teacher, what do we need to learn right now?
Yeah, that's it.
Going on?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
What is your next upcoming book?
The ones are on around the 100-day reality challenge. That's how I started on YouTube, is putting video blogs 10 years ago on participating in the 100-day reality challenge. So at the beginning of the 100 days, we set intentions, and then we record ourselves on video blogs or blogging the results that we're producing throughout those 100 days. And so I've created a workbook, like I had co-created it with the 2 other women that I started this with in 2005. And now I'm creating more exercise book with different people. So with Sonia Choquette on intuition, develop your intuition for 100 days. With one exercise every day to help people transform their life through 100 days, because it's just not a quick fix here. We're talking about transformation, radically transform our lives in every single area.
Well, let's go into that. What is that like to do that from a day-to-day? Give me the breakdown of it.
Yes. So the breakdown in the workbook, you mean? It would
for
be,
you. I want a personal experience of you doing the actual work on a 100-day. The workbook. Well,
there's so many stories around that, because one of the seasons, every 100 days is a season. One of the seasons I wanted to live with an open heart and discover what it was like to live with an open heart for 100 days. And this is when I attracted the experience when I was 32 of going back to my parents and having no more money. So careful what you wish for, kind of thing, and our intentions are so powerful, and our dreams, that sometimes we attract difficulties and challenges, and this is exactly according to what we have wanted. So in the breakdown day to day is I write down in the workbook, there is a quote, and I set my intention for the day, and then I listen to my intuition for the day. Then there's a little exercise, whether it's gratitude or on journaling or creating a vision board, etc. And then after that, I go into what did I observe during the day, like what can be changed or shifted, and then what I'm grateful for, and also the results I produced. And by doing that, by finishing your day, by how many things you can be grateful for, It's like it creates a momentum, and you start to realize after 100 days when you look back, everything that has happened. And I really invite you to do it, like every single evening, do that, and after 100 days, just mark your calendar when that 100th day is going to be, and then you check on that day, and you'll look back, and then we realize how much you do instead of beating yourself up for what you haven't done.
So it's a journal of really showing up your measured results of everything that is happening to you.
Yeah, and being conscious. Yeah, and being conscious on co-creating. So you're every day setting intentions, and for anything that you're doing, whether it's an interview, whether it's a conference, like setting an intention, creating a context. My intentions for the next 100 days is going to be happy, it's going to be fulfilled, it's going to discover what my purpose in life is. It's to even attract my dream partner, my twin flames, like being in that space, that playfulness is going to make a huge difference, because you start to see life with those lenses instead of what's wrong here. And it's exciting. I mean, it's exciting. I'm on season 32. I'm probably at my 50th day today, halfway through season 32, and this one is about vitality and the fun and creating results and creating roots, deep roots, and I want to improve my brain capacity too. And I have about 10 different intentions, and I'm reading them every day or here and there, and just letting it be, letting it happen, letting it manifest, and learning what's actually working, what's not working. Is that fulfilling me? Is this what happened, what was manifested, what was not? And then take it on the next season, like take it to the next level, or shift it a little bit, or focus on something else. It's kind of like a little recipe, right? Trying to find the perfect recipe for you, because I believe we're all different. Like we all have something unique, and we have a different process of healing, and some things come in our life at a certain time. And I'm not too much of a believer of one type of method. Like I'm more of a butterfly, trying different things.
So when do you know that you've got enough results for that visualization? And what are you doing during that time? Are you clearing away certain energies, or are you just grounding yourself? Describe more of the whole process for people who have never done this before.
Yeah.
Let's kindle their curiosity a little bit.
Yeah, the visualization, I discovered that what really works is really feeling it. And even like today I've interviewed this guy that has the 1 minute meditation thing. So he would visualize, he would recommend to visualize for 1 minute. Like if you love dolphins, I love dolphins, so I would look at dolphins, a picture of a dolphin, but not only see the picture, but really be with them and live that moment. So if we did that for 1 minute every day, or seeing a tree, or seeing a mountain, and visualizing that. So it's very much about immersing ourselves in that experience.
I like that.
And seeing it and living it right now, like an athlete would too for a
you
race.
You immerse yourself completely with it, and not see yourself separate from it, but become as if you were one with it.
Yeah, and
more
that
like
raises your
the
alpha.
The movie of the Avatar,
Yes.
It was basically all the energy of the movie, The Avatar, all the energy was coming from the roots of a tree, and they tapped into that. And it was so beautifully, descriptively visual in that way, that it was so, there's no separation then. It's basically tapping into it and you, and you're all completely one there.
Yeah, and I think it's about removing ourselves from the process too, and having, and just wanting the best to experience new things, and even to experience miracles, like have an open mind. And at times it's going to be, when I feel bad or negative, like it will be about, maybe I'll take a bath with crystal salt in it to clear my energy, or I would go to have an energetic session with someone to clear my energy. Like I would tap in many different resources and tools depending on where I'm at. And because I really believe ultimately it's about living this very present, juicy life, but being in the present moment, being fulfilled on a day-to-day, not only when we get results. And that's what I would get before. It only would be when I would get results that I would feel fulfilled, and then it will last 5 minutes, and then what's next? Whereas now it's very much an ongoing fulfillment and process. And if I'm not there, if I'm not in the flow, then I'm going to recreate an intention. I would spend time in nature. I'm going to visualize deeply and feel it again, or I'm just going to go in bed and accept that. Yes. Maybe meditate, but there is just reopening to the process and allowing life, and that's what I love now, just asking life, I need some help. And sometimes I go to my angels and say, please, really bring it on now. I need some serious help here. Yes. And going outside of myself instead of trying to find the solutions, just asking life, help me here.
Yes. Has there been incredible realizations in the last closeness of time that you have come to that were not apparent in your life before, that are very important to you, that are really showing you the consciousness of your life? For instance, let me give you an example of that. I realized that I was giving a lot of my energy and my connection to people, but I found out recently that it was not, they were not receiving it the way that I was giving it. Mm. They're only going to take it from where they know. They're doing the best that they can do from where they're at. And if I'm giving them love and openness and want the best for them, and only the best for them, perhaps they're not going to receive that. They're going to see it from perhaps their victimhood, or they're going to see it from where they're at. Yes. And that was an incredibly a moment in time for me that I realized that I always thought, well, can't they see it? Can't they see really that this unconditional, beautiful gift that I'm just wanting to give to them? But no, they could not see it. Mm. And it took me a long time to really learn that and to see that. Yeah. So that is something that the consciousness, as the energy is coming into the planet at this time, and I'm ready to owe up to it and to be with it and to become more in alignment with myself. These are moments that I came into this knowings and said, now what am I going to do with that? Yeah. And that was very powerful. Yeah. So have you had experiences like that? What is your most recent that you've had?
The most recent is really regarding, being single and partnership and relationship, like realizing that I do want to live and be with a conscious man, that I'm getting into the phase of really creating and creating roots, that I want to be a mother. I'm 38 and now realizing that this is really something I would love to experience without the obsession of it, but something that I really want. And really be with this man that has already done the work, because I'm doing the work. I want to co-create with somebody that is much on this plane, that understands these different processes, but it is also anchored in the business world and understands those principles and is open to it, and really co-creating something really beautiful. So it's saying no to some other type of men that are coming in my life. And it's asking me to have a lot of courage and to continuously having those conversations until I'm clearing the energy. And I feel like right now a lot of us are having a lot of our past, like there's stepping back in our present, and it's for us the opportunity to say no and to clear that space, so that then we have more in a couple of months or in 4 months the possibility to really create the life that we want. And so we have to say no. I'm going to have to say no, and I'm saying no to some things that are not in harmony anymore, whether it's partnership, work partnerships. Like, I'm bringing a lot, like on the partnership level, like a lot of energy and love. And there's some people that can take that. Some people that want to just absorb that and take it. So it's about honoring who you are instead of making myself wrong now. It's about saying yes to those, saying no to some events, and keep the space clear.
I love that. Yeah. When you're saying no, you're actually saying yes to what you want.
Yes.
That's powerful.
Yes. It's a no from a loving perspective.
And yes to what I want.
Yes.
And actualizing and knowing it and owning it.
Oh, and then we're cooking. Yes. Then we're really co-creating with life, and in an active way, in a non-destructive way, because there's this co-creation. Each of my videos I start with, hello, my delicious co-creators. And we have the choice between co-creating positively, actively, or negatively and passively, which is destructive for the planet. So either we're co-creating from a loving perspective or from fear. It's either or.
Well, Lilou, we have just a few moments left, and I'd like to ask you, what you'd like to share that is very dear to you at this moment in time?
Well, to me, it's the dearest is just that we are amazing human beings, and my quest is really interviewing all these people around the world to show what is possible for human beings to do. So just that every single person on this planet knows that the impossible is possible, and that you can dare to dream and go for it, and questioning things and continue to step in the unknown, and step by step in resonance with your heart and yourself and your soul, saying the real yeses of life. And as we said, some no's that really mean yes for you, and then keep on living in this loving way and healthy way, with healthy foods too. I think it's important as well, how we nourish ourselves, what kind of thoughts, what kind of food we give to our body. So I just I'm clearly here to share the love as much as possible, and I hope that every single person on this planet can find their true love and be able to live that, whether it's gardening, cooking, interviewing, video blogging, what have you. But let's inject love in everything that we do. Let's do it consciously in the present moment, and bring love into whatever we're going to do. And this is a new world we're stepping in.
Well, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you, to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From the Art of Conscious Living, do take care of yourselves and take care of others.